Greetings. How are you? Somebody put in the chat, see if my if the sound is okay. Boy, do I need a shave. Okay, sound should be good. I leave. Can you hear me? Okay. Somebody say something or write something. um, Addiction sound is perfect. Okay, so I wanted to do this because we all saw the debacle that was the meeting with Zelensky and the Trump team in the White House. We've never seen anything like that in history, where we, the supposed good guys, actually turn on our ally um, in a vicious way. And I realize that of the Trump, I call them Trump idolaters because that's what they're, but um, Trump bots is a little nicer. um, they they they're so caught up in the cult of Trump and the end times uh, dictator, the beast, the man of sin, that he clearly is, and there's a lot of proof for that. That they actually think that they believe Trump in that horrible White House meeting, that he was right and that they were proper. Yet when you see actually what was said, and anybody of good common sense sees that it was a horrible treatment. It was they lied, and I'll just mention a few things that they said. That let me get on to YouTube here. I want to make sure there's people on here. I want to mention a few things where Vance and Trump lied. I mean, it was pretty clear. He lied on Zelensky, and it was horrible. And it was like the whole world sees how pathetic the treatment was. That's never ever happened. I was like in awe of Zelensky because he was standing up to them. He was not getting upset. They were visibly angry. They were ego stricken, whacked out, terrible behavior, angry, which is they're immoral bastards. They're snakes in the grass. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They're wolves in conservative clothing. They're not conservative at all. Well, maybe a little bit, but that's just to fool you guys, or to fool themselves also. But just a few things that they said that were lies. Trump said they're losing on the battlefield. Well, actually, they've pushed Russia back quite a bit from territory they've gained. It's been like 3 years, and you could see the sliver of territory they've gained, and they haven't been able to push much beyond it. They were kicked out of Kyiv immediately. These people know how to fight. They're not going to be conquered again, God willing, because they've already come out of communism. And Putin has taken over multiple countries, Georgia, Crimea. They've got their tentacles in Africa. They're little bands of killers that help dictators in Africa. That's been known for many, many years. Now they're pushing, trying to take back Ukraine. But finally, we have a noble, great, brave, charactered people that are fighting back really, really well. Thank God. So the losing on the battle, he's full of shit. And what they were doing was they were repeating Russian propaganda. Russia, I mean, you guys should know, they have whole teams, the whole roomfuls of people that are faking conservative accounts on different platforms, social media, acting like conservatives and putting misinformation. Like, Zelensky's this and Zelensky's a Nazi, all this crap. And that's all they were doing in the White House. They were repeating propaganda that's like, I thought, it was almost like you were listening to Putin. But I'm gonna show you guys, and I have links in the description when this video is done. And look, there are some amazing links where it proves that he is an actual FSB, which is KGB. They rebranded to FSB. He is an FSB agent. He was bred from way back as far as the 70s, and mainly the 80s. And I'm going to bring forth some of that evidence here. And so that was a lie. You don't hold any cards, he said. You don't hold any cards. Okay, he's speaking to a man who's has been on a battlefield. They're trying to save their nation. Their cities are being bombed on purpose. Their children, their schoolyards, their hospitals. They're fighting bravely. Every day, Putin fights in a war criminal way, attacking civilians on purpose because he wants to intimidate the people to give up. And our president is saying to him, he doesn't hold any cards. They hold a lot of cards. It's called kicking the Russians' asses, like major. But the Russians are suffering such high catastrophic, and it's all over. You guys can see it from independent vloggers on YouTube that are there. They're suffering casualties 8-1, Russia to Ukraine. So, but they don't care because they're communist. So Putin just keeps on feeding. They call it meat waves, feeding people in there. They get plastered. They're even leaving a lot of their poor guys out there on the casualty field, injured to die. They're using donkeys now because they have a shortage of vehicles, because the Ukrainians are so effective in drone warfare. They're just obliterating a lot of their vehicles. So yes, they hold a lot of cards. They have better tactics. They have the morality card. They have the moral high ground. They are defending their nation, their liberty from Putin, who's been in power for like 20 years, who kills his opponents, who's murdered a huge amount of people, who goes after civilians, who is a war criminal, who has his opponents murdered. That's known. It's all known. And and there wasn't one word of honesty about the killer, the mass murderer, by anyone in that White House in that meeting. He said he had to play the middle ground to make a deal. That's not how you make a deal with evil. He has a misunderstanding about evil because he is evil inside. When Reagan helped the demise of the Soviet Union as we know, but now we know Putin is trying to rebuild it, he took it head on. He called them the evil empire. He faced them with their own evil with the true words. That's the way you take on evil. You don't play games and not call it for what it is. That's immoral. It's sickening. And no, we've never seen a president like that. Even the leftist dumb presidents were stronger than that, because he is a Russian agent. He is an FSB agent. And I'm going to present some facts about that. He said, also Trump said, you see the hatred in him. You see how can we make a deal with the awful hate? I didn't see any hatred coming out of Zelensky. I saw venom and hate coming out for a brave, innocent man by Trump and that little peon vice president. That's where the hatred was coming. So get your facts straight, Mr. President. Let me put some more stuff out, then I'll answer some of these chats. And then another thing is gambling with millions of people. He said, you're gambling with the lives of millions of people. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Like defending your nation and not wanting to be communist and to be taken over, and your business is taken over, and your people slaughtered, and the protesters slaughtered if they got taken over. That's gambling with millions of people. No, Putin is gambling with millions of people, not Zelensky. They're defending their homeland. So he had that all screwed up too. That was just a joke. That was ridiculous for him to say that. And I love the way Zelensky reacted. That was like that's crazy. But he didn't say it, but you could see it on his face. Like, God, he would like, he just dealt with it so well. Oh my God. I was in awe. I was watching that meeting in awe of Zelensky. And he's the way he stood up to those bullies. And okay, so that I covered that. I did make some notes. Um now and Trump is bitching that they don't want a ceasefire. Of course he wants a ceasefire, but if you look if you look at all the ceasefires like the Minsk agreements and the Russia giving up nukes, when they first originally gave up the nukes with a promise of us backing them up, and in Russia promising, not to be aggressive. Okay, they broke that. They had the Minsk Accords with Europe. Russia broke that. So it's not a matter of them not wanting peace, which Trump tried to make it sound like, but Trump wouldn't call out the actual aggressor and the one that's been breaking the peace. And the fact is, it's obvious by past history and by what they're doing now. They don't want peace. They only want us to think they may want peace. But the only way you're going to get peace is through strength, as it always has been with evil, with satanic possessed leaders like Putin. And so some of the points that I learned, and you guys will see it if you watch these these documentaries on the in the description that I've provided, that back in 1987, Trump, well, actually before that, his first wife, Ivana, she was a Czechoslovakian agent. She was famous. Well, she was like a really good skier, and she was part of Czechoslovakia when they were communists, and she was an agent for them. And she traveled, and she ended up meeting Trump, and they had her aligned with Trump. So she really arranged the meeting with 1987. They traveled to Russia together. So there's a lot of connections with Russia, with the KGB, which is now FSB, and his first wife. And I'm not really up on. I had so much information that I was watching. I don't want to make it sound like confusing, but basically they they fed him a lot of money, and it was through his Trump Tower, because a lot of the Russian mafia guys, and they bred him. They knew that he would be a good KGB agent. The KGB always, they've always, since their inception, they've looked for agents within the Western world that they could use, because they're looking long term. And the video that I provide in their description, he's actually a former Soviet KGB gentleman, and now he's what do you call it? He's an expatriate. He's out of Russia, and it's a miracle they haven't murdered him. But I'm sure he's being really careful. But so that information is showing all the connections that Trump had way back then with the mafia, the Russian mafia, and other KGB agents, and they fed him a lot of money. There was one Russian agent that actually bought like 5 or 6 Trump Tower apartments, condos, and it was a way that they could use to launder money, because the KGB, a lot of way, they would make millions and millions of dollars was through the drug trade and degrading the populace of the Western world. Of course, they were masters at that, but they made so much money, and our law enforcement and banks were catching on with it all. So they had to find a way to launder the money, and the Trump Tower was part of that laundering. So his relationship goes way back. And that's why, like, I think it was yesterday that dummy Lavrov, who sounds like Baghdad Bob, everything he says, he's a spokesman for Russia, is a lie, and it's like clearly a lie. His comment was, well, that was quite a pleasant surprise, basically, of what happened in the Oval Office, and we agree with Trump totally. No, that wasn't a pleasant surprise. That has been planned out for many years cultivating Trump as a Russian agent. And they picked him because they knew he didn't have the morals of the average American. He was more out for money and for himself, and he didn't have that strong moral background, and they knew how to pick people like that. So now it's all come home to roost. It's all like, it's not surprising what happened for a lot of people who know that Trump has been aligned with these communists for many years, what happened. And so now we basically lost America. Let me see. He's playing games with us. Chicken Bone News. Where's the truth about Epstein? Yeah. Well, the Epstein thing is small potatoes compared to now what's happening. We've been taken over. It's a hostile takeover, and I'm going to say hostile takeover because because also in the video you're going to see, if you watch, there's a lady there that's part of his Secret Service team, supposedly Secret Service. Most of those people were not Secret Service in that fake shooting, and she's a Russian agent. She's a short gal in the front with the short ponytail, and it goes into her history in the video. I mean, it's not made up, it's legit, from this former Russian KGB dude. She's a Russian agent, and she was in front of him, and she was the one that made sure he had plenty of space. You could see his head sticking out, and he did this in that exposure video. He's saying, and it makes complete sense, that she was in on it, but it was FSB led. They orchestrated it, because, and it makes sense too, because I don't think you'd find even like anybody in our government or any shooter on our side that would go and shoot two people, murder Corey, blew his brains out, and partake in this fiasco of fake shooting. I don't think they could have found an American, but it makes total sense if the KGB FSB team orchestrated it, and according to him, they did, and it totally makes sense. And they were the real shooters in the back building. And if you see the reality, that he never got shot in the ear, his head would have spun from the overpressure. It also wasn't bleeding and dripping. It was all stuck right there. It was fake blood. They went down. When they went down and covered him, they were down there for quite a while because they were working on him to make it look good. That's not any behavior of Secret Service or life-saving agencies. They would never stay down when you got active shooters. They would have hightailed it out there right away. Plus, when they raised up, they exposed him on purpose. Okay, and then that's obviously staged, like obviously. There's no way they would have done that. No way. And then in 2 weeks, he's got no scar, no nothing. And his doctor said it was 2-centimeter wound, which is about that big, scooped out. There's nothing there. I mean, but these Trump bots, they actually believed it. I mean, they got away with it. It's stunning. It's stunning. You guys got to wake up. The ones that are you got to accept what's right in front of your eyes. If you're going to doubt what God gave you the vision to see, because you're listening to outside voices and outside talking heads, they're all liars, but they don't know it. Most of them, like Hannity and all these blathers, they don't have any guts to stand up, because it was obviously a fake shooting. It's been staged. The way Zelensky was treated was obviously evil. It was a culmination of an alignment with Putin and the communists. Now, I wanted to mention too, back when he was about to run for president, after he had returned from the Soviet Union in 1987, even back then, and you could look up some of his stuff, Trump was already talking down on NATO already back then. So now this is a culmination of all that breeding, alignment with these communist. Um, so now he's going to pull us out of NATO. Now Europe is waking up and they're realizing, this horrible thing that's happened. It's like unbelievable, but not really if you really see the reality. If you saw that shooting was fake, if you see that he lies about so many things, and it's not really all that surprising. But what was surprising to me was how well Zelensky handled it. And now Europe is starting to wake up. These weaklings in Europe, they're realizing Russia. We have actually betrayed our partners because Trump is the evil one, and we have now joined the axis of evil. We have voted not with the freedom nations, at least partially free, in the United Nations, condemn the horrible attack, the civilian mass murder that's ongoing every day in Ukraine, and we voted with Russia and communist China. Can you believe that? I don't know how anybody could stay with Trump at this point. You got to be really screwed up in the head to still stick with him. And yeah, Trump is all ego, but I really believe that Trump is. I think he's had visitations by Satan or some very strong, powerful forces. Because also, when you look at his Trump Tower, it has an inverted V formation, and there's 666. There's 666 all lined up, and there's like small trees. So it's a female anatomy. It's a satanic temple, literally. I mean, I'll put that documentary in there too in the description. So that's not by accident. I mean, you don't create a 666 pattern knowing what the Christian community and religious people know, and what he knows, it's in the Bible, and you create that. So there are people that have sold their souls to the devil, and they get great wealth and earthly riches for that. But of course, they're going to get something really bad in eternity. But maybe it just seems like he's made some deal. I know there's a lot of there's entertainment people that have actually been visited by demons, and I've seen YouTubes of it where they offered them these deals and they've taken it. I believe that's happened with Trump. It would explain his behavior and his lack of a conscience, really, because he, in some way, he feels like he's on the right team, and it's a team that is jealous of God and hates God and always has. But somehow they feel they're right in some way. It appears like that to me. And let's see what else I got. Yeah, it's just, I was like really cheering. I mean, in my heart, when Zelensky was dealing so well with all that insanity. Oh, and by the way, Trump had 6 bankruptcies, and then he got out of it by this influx of Russian cash. So that saved his ass. But he's basically a big financial disaster. But he got bailed out, and of course his TV show, he made a lot of money with that, playing what he really is, and it's a big bully. And I remember Roy Masters made a comment about that. He said, he's not a happy man. That's true. Hi, Martin. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Fabian. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Okay, I got it pretty high, so I think it'll come through.
I've been making much better comments than that chicken bone news guy, and you haven't read a single one.
Oh.
But you know what? That's just my ego speaking.
Well, glad you recognize, bro. Let's see. FSB. Oh, yeah, FSB. And then what else?
Not that one. That's the weakest one.
Connection, my guess. Emotion connection, my guess. Trump is all ego. Wait, what else? You didn't write much. KGB.
Are you kidding?
I'm not seeing.
Everywhere it says addiction, that's me.
Well, I know, but anyway, what do you got to say? I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm seeing.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I'm not.
Sorry.
Maybe I'm not seeing. I don't know. I don't see. But anyway, yeah. What? Tell me.
Maybe, and that is the most incredible news. That just blows me away. You sent me a video showing that that Trump is a Russian agent.
Yeah.
And he's been groomed from way back. That is incredible news.
Yeah, and I know, and that video is, I mean, you guys watch it. It's like documented, and this guy is a former KGB agent. Like it's legit.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's really but then it makes everything that's happened in the White House now it makes it more understandable.
And what I'd like to say about the shooting, if I may,
Yeah.
I mean the fake assassination attempt. That first bullet, when it first hit his ear, he took his sweet time to put his hand up on his ear and wonder about what's going on. I tell you, man, any kind of guy trying to shoot at him, any kind of guy, and not just a professional sniper, he would have got up another couple rounds in that time.
Right. Oh yeah.
We have something called semi-auto rifles.
Right. And you know what's weird? Remember I mentioned to you? Okay, so supposedly he shoots, right? And then he misses, and then all his subsequent shots, there's like about 5 or 6 of them, they go way out into the stands. An assassin would have taken all his shots right at Trump. It makes no sense.
Yeah, and when I heard that the bullets, depending on the power of the cartridge, but it can go through more than one person. So those Secret Service agents letting him stand up like that and putting their body in front. First of all, he could have still got it. Any sniper could have still got a headshot off.
Right. It was clearly a staged thing. Clearly. It's not even close. As a matter of fact, it kind of explains it when you learn that it sounds like Russia and the FSB was behind it, because the communist buffoons kind of screwed it up, but they did a good enough job where these dummies believe it.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Well, he see, that's why I say it's a hostile takeover, because I knew when that happened, there's no question he was going to win the election, because God saved him. Now he's God's man for sure. All these dummies had sympathy, and he got the sympathy vote. That's why the FSB planned it all like that, because they knew they're pretty smart in an evil way. They knew that he would get it. They had to make sure he would get in, and that was a sure way to do it, and it worked.
Yeah, you have the other candidate so anti-American that it makes Trump look like a great option, and he has done some things leading up to it. I think the only real success he's had so far is getting that border closed. But
well, yeah, you got to do some good to fool the people. You can't just do all bad, right? I mean, and he probably even has some real conservative tendencies, like Hitler. I think he helps begin the Volkswagen production and a bunch of other stuff. So he had some good economic tendencies too.
Oh yeah, he brought Germany back from economic disaster.
Right. But as far as obviously, it's all for a great evil that they may not even. I don't know if they're aware how evil it is. Doesn't really matter, right? I mean, it just is. And there's a coming world government now. Now I believe it's going to be the axis of evil that are going to take over the freer nations, and it's going to create this one world government with Trump, the man of sin, at the top of it.
So my question is, and it's kind of off the subject, is what will actually trigger a hot war that is coming. It's in scripture. There's a hot war coming, but
right.
if he makes nice with Russia, what will trigger it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because Ukraine's not going to give up. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to happen. But I know one thing: we're on the bad end now. Now we're on the side of evil, and I think all the tyrants of the world are going to take over the world, basically, and we're going to be part of them. Unfortunately, it's looking that way. It's going to happen pretty quick because we're in the last 3.5 years. It all matches up with 2028end.com, which is factual, matches up with reestablishment of Israel. It matches up with 2,000 years since Jesus died. It's like so many people see we're in the end times. It's like really, and then you got a bunch of conservatives just talking about the same old stuff. Like, oh my gosh, they better wake up.
I'd like to make a quick comparison between Taiwan and Ukraine. Mm-hmm. We spend billions of dollars, and we have half the United States Navy in the South China Sea to protect Taiwan. Now, is Taiwan that important, more so than Ukraine? You're opposing a communist regime in China, just as you are, and people don't realize it, just as you are with Russia. Russia's not a free country.
No, and every country they take over, if you know how Russia runs things, they take over the businesses, they steal the businesses. That's how Putin and his henchmen have gotten so rich. That's how they steal the money from these businesses. It's like heavy taxation, basically. They just skim the money. You lose freedoms. If you speak up, you're going to get in jail or murdered. I mean, this is what Trump is not willing to call out. That's what he's the middleman of. That's what he's not willing to take sides against. This is evil. This is pure evil. The man is a psychopath, and because Trump thinks he wants to make some kind of deal by not calling out a psychopath, he's a psychopath too, because he's led the death of millions of people by these clot shots. Oops, yeah, I guess that'll work. And he knows it. The data's there, and people are suffering horribly. And now they're pushing for more mRNA, more. It's not enough. Not enough of you guys have been injected with Wi-Fi capable of making you a Wi-Fi router. That's been proven too, because they got to track everybody. And the ones that don't die, they're going to track. They don't care about human life. They don't care.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He said that the mRNA technology undergirding all these medicines coming out is the most dangerous, and other doctors have said it, also other independent doctors, it's the most dangerous weapon ever devised against mankind.
Right. It hacks.
And now look at him. He's quiet as a mouse. He's going after Fruit Loops.
He's sold out. Yeah, he's sold. And then Trump, and Elon is talking about. You could see him on X recently talking about the great innovations that we're going to make with mRNA. Apparently, he's not paying attention to millions of people that are suffering, that have turbo cancer, have died, that have heart disease. I mean, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I mean, they can't not know. They can't not know.
And here's why they say it's the most dangerous weapon ever devised. Because it goes into the DNA, and when it gets in there, they don't know what it's going to do next. There's no way to predict it. The DNA structure and everything is so complicated. I heard this one expert in that field say that it would take us generations to figure it out, even with AI.
Yeah. Well, they know with the COVID ones, it mass produces the spike protein, and they've got, and that's causing a devastation. They know that. I mean, it was designed to do that. But it was mainly also designed because they have the graphene oxide and the little nanochips that you can see. It's not a conspiracy. It's been proven by doctors, and people are showing up on Wi-Fi. It makes them it makes a signal come out of them. They know that. It's like, It's a level of evil that can only happen in this last 42 months.
And you just misspoke. It is a conspiracy, but it is not a conspiracy theory anymore.
Right.
It is a proven conspiracy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's absolutely conspiracy because these evil bastards aren't going to come out and tell the truth. But anyway, okay. Well, thanks for calling, and
thank you, sir.
All right, we'll see you later. Bye. Yeah. So, I'm getting hot and sweaty now. So yeah, it's the level of evil is amazing. It's like, whoa, it's shocking. It's great. I mean, it's good because it's separating the good people from the dummies. I'm not going to call them bad people because some of them will repent and wake up. So, but it is like what happened with Zelensky. It's separating people. Yeah, like you have to be kind of an idiot to not see that he was an innocent man standing up for right for his country, and these guys were not even willing to call out the evil party, for heaven's sakes. I mean, seriously. So anyway, I don't have much else going. If anybody else wants to call in, if not, please go to those links, especially the link that shows the title Trump KGB agent. It is amazing, and it's by a former Russian KGB gentleman officer, I believe, and it's startling. It's very well narrated, and the man has had to flee Russia. He fled a while ago, or he would be dead or in prison. So okay, that's all I wanted to say. And you Trump idolaters, you better wake up because you don't want to be on the wrong side when Jesus comes, and we are definitely in the last 42 months. We're going to see things escalate very quickly. The two witnesses are going to come up very soon, and that's going to be really, really exciting. And Jesus finally will come with his army and set up wonderful kingdom of peace. I'm not a prophet. Don't go judging me like I'm prophesizing. It's all been prophesized. It's all happening. It's like absolutely that fake shooting was the beast that appeared to get a head wound. He seemed to get a head wound and it was healed. Oh wow, because it was faked. It's like a lot of people were expecting that to happen and it happened. And so I hope you guys wake up. If anybody's not practicing the Roy Masters Be Still exercise, you really need to, because everything we hear in our mind, all this intellectual garbage in our mind, all the words, all the thoughts, all imaginations, it all leads to evil. It all leads to judgment. It all is evil. It tempts us to talk to ourselves, to say things. It brings us things to say to ourselves. It's all, I know we've done it most of our lives, but it's all deception. We just want to live by the silent intuition. And even if our minds are saying good things, it's just trying to hijack our guiding light. That's all it's trying to do. So you just kind of see it blather and let it pass, and then you just live without really seemingly knowing anything. It tried to give me what to say before I start this video. I don't know what I'm going to say. I mean, I have some notes, but I don't listen. I don't obey the words in my head. You should never pre-plan what you're going to say. Never speak in your head what you said that was good because it wants you to take pride in it. It's all demonic activity. All the words in the head is demonic activity. All of it. All of it. The God doesn't talk to you in your head like that. Alan Masters and anybody else, all these other YouTube, supposed leaders. He doesn't. How could he do that when we have evil talking to us and then it's good? You see, there has to be a different way for him to communicate, which he does. It's be still and know. It says in the Bible, Jesus said, don't think about things. Don't worry. Because you just see and do. You don't, even though you get tempted tempted to think and, think about what you said or what you just let it pass. And then you kind of live like a dummy, but you're not really, because then when you're ready to share with people or create something or do something, it just happens. It happens. You don't premeditate it. That's all from the darkness. So we have to sort of get used to that. And you will if you practice the Roy Masters Be Still exercise. God bless Roy Masters. He must be having such a good time in heaven. All right. Yeah. 2028end.com on YouTube. It's amazing. Gabriel is the only real prophet in our time that I've ever seen. All the other ones are phony baloney that I've seen. Maybe there's real ones. Okay. God bless you. And share this, please, and comment and put a, notification button, all that stuff. How do you say it? Hit the subscribe and notification button, please. Okay. Take care.